We're looking at a bunch of clips of Machine versus Bravo. This is from the US Open tournament. I've got two offensive clips that I want to show you. I've got one defensive clip, and then I have a pile of throwing clips. All the throwing clips should be similar ideas from what I've shown you in my previous two videos, so nothing new there, but I am trying to just drill those concepts into people's heads and really pin them down. What I want to get out of this clip is offensively based. So what we're looking at is Machine with the disc. Here's your thrower. Here's your reset. They have 3 over here, and they have 2 over here. So in my mind, 1, 2, this is 2 people, 1, 2, 3, this is 3 people. In my mind, this is a 2-3 split stack. The goal of the 2-3 split stack is often to attack from either the 2 or the 3. Generally, it's going to be the 2. We saw this a lot last year, and we are also trying to do it a little bit ourselves this year. So you see these two. Bottom person, you can expect them to drive like that. Top person, you can kind of expect them to drive like that. What we're not used to seeing, and what Machine is about to do, is then inverse this pattern. So after they do these initial drives, they're now going to be flip-flopping it, and the throw will go to this player, and then the next look is over here. So we can watch the two here kind of run through their cycle. Bottom person's driving, top person's coming down, and now they're flipping it. You can see that. I'm going to back up a bit. So as this happens here, notice that Bravo's putting on a forced backhand here. I think it's generally a good idea to force into the 3. I think it makes sense to, if we can, if we're smart enough, we should force into the 3 when we see a split stack. But let's also note that the action created, the 2-person wheel route action, created just so much space for this person to get open 1v1. And if you have a thrower that is good enough to break the mark, which this thrower is good enough to break the mark, it's very dangerous, and it's powerful offensive set, and it can do a really good job of getting things going. So just so much space here. This white dot here, this white dot here is the this is half. This is the midline of the field. So knowing that and looking at the 3, we can get a sense of how much space the 3 is giving the 2 right now. All 3 of these players are on the far half of the field. So these 3 have given the 2 an entire half of the field, and they've done it for kind of a long time. A bunch of time has run off the clock so far. They've given 2 a lot of space and a lot of time to just get working. And now we can see that the first member of the 3 is going to start entering the field. We're going to back it up and break that down too. So here's the other 2-person. He's trying to get open. Can't really do it and gets out. Let's watch. So here's the top of the 3. This is the first person that's going to join the 2 after the 2 have done all their work. Notice how he's holding space, holding width, giving lots of time. In this moment, we can see that the top of the 3, this person, he can see his eyes are right here. So he's not looking at the disc, and he's not like just head down, bulldozing into the middle of the field. He's watching. He is watching this person, seeing what he's doing, and setting up his time off of this person's actions. So he's letting this person dictate his timing. Let's also notice that the force down here, this is a flat force, which means this is force backhand. You're on the far break side. You're on the break side sideline. When you're on the break side sideline, your mark is going to be flat on you, just like this. So this is a force backhand. If you are coming from force side to break side, that means you are going to go on a slash route, kind of like this. I wish I had my arrow there. But you set it up by kind of pushing vertically like that and then slashing across. And we can see once this person decides to leave the space, we can see how he's kind of putting his shoulder. We can see how he gets his shoulder into his defender here, kind of pushing vertically like I described. And now we can see him begin to break down and come out of his cut on a nice slash just like that. So it's a really good example of cutting to the break side. It's a really good example by 71 of giving the two time and space that they need, watching the two, recognizing when they're done, and then continuing with the right shape and the right cut to help out the two and to keep action going. So really good offense here from Machine. I like it a lot. Go back and let you watch it one more time here. Another clip of Machine's offense here. So they're getting active pretty soon here, but we can already see, all right, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 people over here. In my mind, I call that the 3. I call this a reset player. I call this a thrower. And then there's 2 over here. So I would call that the 2. 1, 2. So there's a 2, 3 split stack here. The goal is to give the 2 time and space to get open and work together and combine with each other. The way Bravo set up their defense here, they're just giving it to Machine. So I think 91 is kind of recognizing that. Hey, both players are over the top of us. They're just giving me my free under. So 91, I think, is kind of bailing on whatever the play is and just taking the free under now. And we can see that off of 91's under action, 11 is driving deep, right? So 91 came this way, and now 11 driving deep, kind of like that. 11 does a little dancing, but he gets open. Look at all the space. Well, let me go back. Right, so here, this little white dot here is the midline. It's right here. So this is half field. So you can see that the entire 3 and the reset handler over here, all 4 of these players are on the opposite half of the field as the 2. They are all doing a really good job of giving the 2 tons of space and time to go to work and to get open. And then we're going to see Machine just attack the end zone. We're going to go back and look at this again. So as I look at this, the force is, what is the force? Let's back it up. The force here is forehand. So this is all break side action on this side. You can see this mark gets flat. They're trying to force forehand, right? They're trying to force, this flat mark tells me it's a forehand. And then from here, you can see that the way this player is attacking deep, he was making some kind of horizontal move. You can see how he's got his shoulder into the chest of the person. Also, the defense is just taking away the under. So this offensive player is just taking what he's given, and he's cutting deep. And I want to back up and really focus, as we watch through it on this time, really just focus on this person. So giving time, coming across horizontally, putting a foot in the ground, going deep. I think that's a really good example of 2-3 offense, and I think we should be trying to do stuff like that more often with our own offense. All right, here's a defensive clip. So we're going to be paying attention to number 19 here. Bravo's in a vert stack. 19 and 55 are setting up a bracket on the back of a vert stack. I think that's smart defense. It's good default defense against a vert stack. Just bracket the back 2. We're going to watch as 6 here drives deep. How does 19 help? So that's the end of 19's help. We're going to go back and watch it again, and I'm going to slow it down. I think what I'm seeing is somebody who is shuffling a lot. They're only exclusively shuffling. I also see a person who is eyes on the disc. Out of the corner of his eye, he can see his own person, and out of this part of his eye, he can see this person. So his hips are open up to the whole field. He's open to everything that he needs to be open to. He can see a lot, and he's not committing to this help. So it's shuffle, 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 and then it's recover. So this is slow-mo, shuffle, 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 and now he's recovering. And I think that's a really good example of how we can be smarter as help defenders, and also about how long should I be help defending, because this is not very long. This is 1, 2, 3 shuffles, recover. He recovers to the right shoulder. I think what we're going to see as this disc moves across is that he tries to fight for the left shoulder. He's trying to orbit as the disc changes horizontal spacing. Right now, he tried to orbit across, but his person breaks, and so he switches back to the inside shoulder as he looks to challenge this for potentially a layout D. So a lot of good things, a lot of subtle things, a lot of simple things to learn from in this clip. Nice defense by 19. First of many throwing clips. All of these are pretty short. So I'll slow it down because the goal for most of these is just pay attention to what is the thrower doing? What does the thrower look like as we go? So you can see this mark, pay attention to that. This is forced backhand. So the thrower is being forced into the sideline. This is called the trap side. This is forced backhand. 55 is cutting around, and right here we get a really nice view of how a good thrower gets the disc off of the line. So when I look at this, I'm seeing, it's tough to see. I'll try to draw it out for you. Shoulder, I see an elbow, I see a wrist, and I see the edge, the tip of the disc there. So I'm seeing great extension through the arm. Ask yourself, do I get that extension? Do I get the disc out to this spot here? Or do I maybe get the disc right here in this person's forearm? And do I get hand blocked? Another thing I like to think about is look at this leg work, right? So right leg, really powerful. Look at the angle of this. Boom, strong leg. I think I see a left knee there. I think I see a left foot there. And then I'm assuming that the left hip is somewhere here. So that pivot leg is doing what I also want it to do. Put your left pivot knee into the ground. That helps you get low. Have a strong, 90 degree or even smaller than 90 degree angle in your right leg. That helps you be stable. Sink your hips down. Extend the disc away from your body. I'm going to draw some new drawings. As you look at the right leg, I think a lot of us might assume that we're doing this, but a lot of us would go hip, knee, and then foot somewhere out here. Kind of like that. And this shape is way harder to get in and out of. It's easy. It might be easier to get into, but it's much harder to get out of. And I think it's way less stable, and it's a lot easier to lose your balance with that shape. So really pay attention to the shape of his right leg here, strong and stable. Pay attention to the shape of this disc. Look at it right now and think to yourself, okay, would I throw that shape? Or maybe would I have thrown this shape here? Or maybe even more realistically, would I have just skyballed a blade up here somewhere, right? Look at the shape that this player threw with. I'll back it up so you can kind of get an appreciation of the whole thing. Look at the shape that this disc comes out with. Boom, easy around, something we can all learn from and be better at ourselves. All right, here's Bravo on offense. Machine is a poach heavy defense. Their defensive style is to have some kind of smart poach, smart in quotes, poach defense every single time. So here you can see 23 is trying to set up in some kind of poach system. You can see that there's a poach right here. There's also over the top here. You can also see this person set up trying to do some kind of zone action. What's left is just a big empty space right here that is wide open. And I think a lot of zone defenses have this weak spot right here. Look at the thrower right now. So you can see right leg, right knee, right hip. You can see left knee is in the ground, left foot is in the ground, left hip there. You can see that strong base of the thrower. And you can see that he is just breaking the mark to find the hole in the defense. So this player right now is solving his problems by breaking the mark. We can watch him do it again. You can also see how number 10 doesn't work very hard. 10 just looks around the field, sees that no one's guarding him, and just sits in the hole. And I think this hole is often here. If your thrower is good enough to break the mark and hit this spot, and if your cutter is smart enough to just not move and collect the frisbee, this is an easy way, I think, to exploit zone defenses. Boom, right in there. And now all of a sudden, Bravo has the advantage moving downfield. And it all started because this person solved his problems by breaking the mark. So good job by 10, recognizing the hole and just not moving. Good job by the thrower, breaking the mark to create action for his team. This clip highlights number 11 on Machine. I'm not the biggest fan of 11's throws. I think he looks very uncomfortable with the disc kind of all the time, but I think the camera angle and the image we're about to get here is better, is good, and it gives us a good idea of his release point. So as he comes across, right here is a great frame. So this is the extension that I want all of us to be thinking about. You can see shoulder, elbow, hand, and the disc is like this. This is great extension away from the body. So the disc is far from the body. He's getting it away from himself, and he's getting it around this defender. Think about yourself. Okay, do I maybe get the disc here? Do I maybe get the disc here? Right? Pay attention to where he gets it. His disc all the way out here. Great extension away. Let's watch the shape of this disc as it comes out and ask ourselves, there is edge on this disc, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that this is a flat disc, but ask yourselves, would I have thrown the disc with this shape? Here's the shape. Would you have maybe thrown something that looks like this right now? You just got to reflect on that yourself. We're going to speed it up. 11's going to get another touch here soon. He's going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Slow it down so we can get the right frame. Same thing. I really like the extension here. Something I hope we all are smart enough to learn from. You can see the shoulder, elbow, hand. It's a bit of a different angle, but the key that I want you to focus on, extension of the disc away from his body. That extension allows him to get around the mark here. As this ball comes out, pay attention to the shape of this frisbee and ask yourself, would I have thrown this shape, or would I have maybe thought to myself, I better skyball something that looks like this, kind of coming up and coming down right here? Would I have thought to myself, let me just throw something like that? I really like the shape of this disc. I really like the release points 11 is showing here. I think we could all learn from that. This is the exact same throw, just from a different camera angle here. Let's see if I can, there's the angle. So this is what I want us all to really be digesting and taking away from this clip. Shoulder, elbow, hand, disc. Really see that extension. Really think about, what does my extension look like? Am I getting out as far as this person is? Here we're going to see a little break side action turn into a huck for machine. So we're starting with the disc here on this sideline. This mark's going to come down and be flat. That tells me that the force is forehand, right? A flat mark over here is forcing the player to come back to the middle of the field. So machine is working through the break side here. Let's back it up. So here we're going to get the first continue to the break side. And as we watch this one, I want us to really pay attention to the shape of this throw. I think a lot of us throw a ton of blade to these inside break side shots, these little Oyos. This has edge on it, but it's pretty flat. Anyway, now that machine's created momentum towards the break side, 11 here is going to be the break side continue. So 11 is going from the force side to the break side. And if you are going from the force side to the break side, you need to slash across the field. So he's pushing vertically a little bit into his defender, and then he slashes across the field. And we can see him do that here. He's going to break it down, and this is just a slash across the field. Nice throw. Again, same thing. As we watch this Oyo, as we watch this thrower hit the inside throw to the slash, think about the amount of edge that he puts on this, right? It is shaped, but it's not a ton of shape. Now that we've got the continue going, we can see, and this is something that I would like us to start doing, is to turn these slashes into attacks downfield. So here this player is recognizing, okay, I'm in a good spot to be the continue to be the continue deep, boom. And it's a very good throw. There's some pretty good edge on there, but it's not a lot of edge. You know, think to yourself, would I put that much edge on the disc, or would I have put more edge on the disc? But what I really want us to pay attention to is, hey, this disc hits the slash, and now I'm cutting deep. Let's back it up a little bit more. Slash comes across, we hit him, this player, attack deep. I wish that we would do this more often in our offensive sets. And hopefully we can start seeing it in some scrimmages. We're going to see 91 throw two nice throws in this clip. So here he gets the reset. Let me back it up. Let me show you it. Pivot and throw. All right, let me back it up and talk about why I like this, and I'll slow it down too. So what I like about this is I like this pivot here gets the mark moving. It's not a big dramatic pivot, but notice how the disc gets all the way across his body. Some of us, when we fake or pivot, the disc doesn't come with. I think getting the disc to move, notice how right now disc is on the right side of his body. Bringing the disc across like that, just getting it to the other side of your body is often enough to get the defender to move. And also notice the disc is out of his hand right now and his right foot is not down. So he's really balanced and strong in his legs. He pivoted across, sending the defender flying, but he never lost his balance. And he recognizes, hey, my window's open now and I got to get it out now. So I think that's a really good example of getting the disc out before setting your next pivot. It's a good trick to use in games. You'll see good players do that often. Some nice little give and go action here. And then we're going to see another throw, and I'm going to try to talk about this throw, slow it down for you. I like this throw a lot. So here he pivots aggressively. Boom. So this is the frame I wanted to focus on. Unfortunately, this guy is in the way, so it's going to be hard to see some of these things. Pivot knee is in the ground. If you want to get low and beat your mark down, you have to put your pivot knee into the ground. So I really like the shape on this left leg. I can see a foot there and I can see a hip there, and that must mean that there's a right knee somewhere there. Strong, stable base in the right knee. I point this one out because I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, there's a lot of people on this team that would go hip, knee, and then foot somewhere out here. And when we use this shape, we're out of balance. It's hard to come out of this shape. It's hard to be strong and stable in this shape. But with the green one, this 90-degree angle, you're strong, you're stable, you can come out of it. And I think that's a really good example of how you get low and throw a pass. Let's also pay attention to the shape on the disc as it comes out. So not an aggressive amount of edge. There is edge on it. I'm not going to say this is perfectly flat, but this is a pretty flat Frisbee. Ask yourself, hey, would I maybe have thrown this? Or would I have thought to myself, oh, got to throw this blade all the way up and then dropping down like that? Pay attention to the shape that this player puts on. It's a soft touch. It lets his player go get it. It's a nice throw. Machine is, pay attention to this, right? So the mark is here. They're forcing the machine into the sideline. So this is forced backhand. Get the disc off the sideline. Big space pass, just lose some yards. Do whatever it takes to get the disc off the sideline. And here's the throw. I think this is a really good image that I want to show everybody right there. Ooh, I missed it. Let's see if I can get a better angle for you guys. There's a really good extension from the body here like that. And this is what I want us to take away from this clip is pay attention to the shape of shoulder, elbow, hand, disc. Look at the extension away from the body, right? Ask yourself, hey, maybe would I be throwing it right here? Do I get it all the way out? Do I get the disc out to here at the same level that this player does? And then as we watch this, nice little touch pass, pay attention to the shape. Look at how much shape he put on that disc. Touch pass out in front of his receiver, let him go do all the work. It's a good throw. This one starts out with a fun little Buford. Let's back it up and try to get a better clip. So here, Buford is a play that we run all the time. Hopefully everybody knows what it is at some point during this season. Buford is when a handler drives up. That creates a lot of space for this person to drop in, and the thrower is looking to hit him here. Notice how this is a force forehand. This is a lefty player. This is a force forehand, so the thrower has to break the mark to get it to the Buford, and that's okay. Our throwers should expect themselves to be able to break the mark in order to make plays happen. The other thing that Buford does is pay attention to this defender here. So he is sagging. He is off of his person, sagging in the lane. Driving the Buford play, having this player drive up the line like that, forces the defender to step in. And we can see that right here. So it pulls this sag to the upline runner, and it creates the lane and the space for this player to go get it. As this player receives it, we can see that his continue cutter is setting up with a little horizontal step and then just boosting it deep, right? So pay attention to that. Is a huge theme in a lot of deep cuts that you'll see, is some kind of horizontal motion getting turned deep. Put your foot in the ground and go deep. We can see that here. Nice aggressive deep cut. I'm going to back it up. The last thing I want us to pay attention to, and there's going to be a better, I think there's a better view in the next clip that I'm going to show you guys, but I'm going to slow this down. So most huckers that you will watch, including most huckers on our team, they will step forward into their huck. This hucker, number 23 here, he is the type of hucker that will step to the side on his huck. And I just want to highlight this as basically there are different ways to huck. So you can see that his step here, look at his feet are kind of in line. If I drew a line through his feet here and I said, okay, left foot, right foot, and the direction that he's hucking is this way. So he is hucking, he is stepping perpendicular to the direction that he's trying to huck it. And we can also see that he just has a really strong base. If I back it up, there's a really good frame, I think right here. If I gave this person a basketball, they would not look ridiculous, right? This is what a basketball player might look like when they catch the ball, right? It's really easy for them to pass from this position. It's really easy for them to dribble from this position. It's really easy for them to shoot from this position. This thrower is creating a really strong, stable base. You can see he's dropping his hips a bit. There's some action in his knees. He's got his feet planted in the ground. As I go forward a little bit, there's the really small step. Let's go back. Watch how much of a step the right foot is. So from here to there is a really small step. And we can see how he's just creating a really powerful base that he can huck from. So I see a foot, a knee, a hip, another knee, another foot. So it's just kind of 2 feet, 2 legs, dropping his hips, bending his knees, really strong, stable base. Allows him to generate a lot of power and just throw a flat pass out in front for his receiver. I say flat. There's quite a bit of edge on there. This is the exact same throw, just a different view. So we can see here, look at the strong base, right? Getting his hips down, action in his knees, really small step, boom. This gives you a sense of what he's trying to do with his legs. And you can just see, I think this is just hips down, load it in your hips, just a stable base underneath you. And also look at the spread between these legs. He's not taking a huge step. He's not taking a huge lunge. He's just dropping his hips, creating a lot of power, and letting the disc do the work. I think this is one of my favorite throws in the entire collection that I've got in this video. Machine is working down the break side. We're going to be able to tell that they're on the break side in just a second because this player here is coming in and going flat. So if they are going flat, they are forcing the thrower to go to the middle of the field. They are forcing the thrower to go to the backhand space. And this thrower here, they are stepping into their backhand and they are about to come across and boom. This is a great extension in the arm, and we can see that. Really good example of shoulder, elbow, hand, disc. Look at this extension. This is how you get out and around a mark. Notice how he's just pivoting into the out of bounds space to give himself even more extension around the mark. Foot is still in bounds. That's all that really matters. You're allowed to step out of bounds with your pivot foot. And then pay attention. I'll speed this up so you can get an appreciation for the real touch. Back it up. See the touch on this disc. He lets his player go, run onto it. Pay attention to how much edge he is throwing. Ask yourself, would I have put that much edge or would I have used a different edge? Great touch. Let the receiver go get it. I think this is just a really nice throw. 2 good throws that I like here. So number 12 has the disc, about to come across and throw a backhand. I'm going to slow it down so that we can really digest this. Boom. Biggest thing I want us to pay attention to is just the shape of his legs. So if you want to get down and around a mark, put your left knee into the ground. So so left foot, left knee, left hip is somewhere there. Pay attention to this shape on the pivot leg. Pay attention to this shape on the right leg. This little 90-degree angle. He is strong and stable in this position. This is a really strong, stable base. He can come out of this. Ask yourself, especially with the front leg, would I have gone hip, knee, foot somewhere out here? Would I have felt the need to kind of try to pivot like that? Ask yourself, hey, would I have gotten my left knee all the way into the ground like he does here? Would you have had the same stable base that he has? You can see it, get a sense for the touch, just lays it out in front, lets his receiver go get it. He's not trying to rope it into a tight space, just touch pass out into space. I'll go full speed. Touch pass out into space. Let the receiver do the work for you out in front of him. See how he receives it out in front of him. 12's going to get another touch in just a second, and we're going to see just another really good throw. Slow it down so we can appreciate this one. Exact same thing. So I like showing this one right after the other one because we can get a sense of, hey, this isn't like a tip or a trick. This is how it is done. You can have one good throw and you can go a long way with one good throw. So we can see the same strong base here, strong angle with the right leg. He could come out of this, really strong angle with the left leg, left knee into the ground. Very strong, stable base. He's balanced, he's athletic here. And then I'll speed it up so that we can try to get a sense of the touch on this disc. Boom, out in front of the receiver. See that? Place it out in front of the receiver, let the disc float, let your receiver go get it. You don't have to try to rope it into somebody's body. Just lay it out there, let them go and get the Frisbee. So 2 nice throws from 12 there. All right, Machine is in their 2-3 set again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is a 2 and this is a 3. So I would call this a 2-3 split stack. Bravo is coming down in what I would call a sagging set. So they have, pay attention to this guy, and this guy, and they're creating, the 3 of them together are creating this shape, this little V formation shape. They're trying to stop the thrower from throwing like a big throw downfield. They're trying to get this guy to swing it with his first throw. Machine probably had some kind of play drawn up, but number 91 here recognizes like, hey, nobody's guarding me. If nobody's guarding me, I don't need to run the cuts or run the sets. I just need to sit in open spaces. And all of these defenses, all of these V formation defenses, they have a weak spot right here. But you can only attack that weak spot if your thrower is good enough to break the mark. So here, that is what we're seeing. We are seeing a very good thrower that is good enough to solve this thrower is solving Machine's problems by breaking the mark. And this disc goes right through the teeth of the defense. Backing it up, if you're a handler, try to think of yourself in this person's perspective. If you saw a defender here, and a defender here, are you throwing through the middle of it, or are you swinging that disc for the next 10 minutes? Good players are throwing through poaches. It is possible to throw through poaches. It is possible to hit this window. Look at this left knee. If you want to like throw past a mark, if you want to beat a mark, drop your left knee, your pivot knee to the ground. Look at this action. This is how you get low. This is how you get underneath a mark. Right through the middle of all those poaches, and now all of a sudden Machine has the advantage going downfield. I think that I don't think any of us would have thrown that throw. I think we would have been swinging, and that is why Machine is getting action attacking defenses, and that is why we are passively swinging the disc for 10 minutes before we break people down. This is the same exact concept as the last clip, but from Bravo's perspective now. So Machine is also a poach heavy defense. You can see 24 is poaching, 3 is poaching. The way they're oriented, they're trying to switching back and forth. You can see 3 is trying to flip right? From 12 here to 10, 3 is getting split. So machine right now is in they are in a poach defense system, and you can see here's the mark, here's this person, here's this person. These three are creating the V shape. So this is that same defensive shape, just in a different place on the field in a different scenario. But the concept is the same. 1, 2, 3. We're going to stop this thrower from throwing downfield. We want this thrower swinging the disc. But Bravo is going to solve all their problems by just breaking the mark. Boom. It's in the same exact spot. I think when we see these V formation defenses, these hammer sags, this mark with 2 people sagging either lane, the weak spot is here. It's in the middle of them. And the only way you can get there is if your thrower is good enough to solve all of our problems by breaking the mark. Split these 2 into the right there, and it's open. But you have to be able to solve your problems by breaking the mark. All right, at the front of the video, I said there's only one defensive clip. This is the last clip that I have, and it's a bonus defense clip. So we're really watching this person here. We're going to pay attention to their initial orientation. We're also paying attention to this defender here and this reset here. And I'll slow it down. So we're watching how much shuffling is happening. Shuffle, shuffle. Right now, what you can see with the defender's head is that he's turning his head so that he's trying to see over his right shoulder to the thrower while also being able to see his person here. So he's very intentional about what he's doing with his head. It's the goal of, you can see he's doing it here too. So if I drew, maybe it'll help if I draw a little arrow. He is trying to look this direction, and the goal of trying to look that direction is I want to see this and I want to see this. So he's being very intentional about what he's doing with his head. Look at all the shuffling, 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 shuffling. Get into the body, shuffle, 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 and then just stay in the body. I think a lot of us release kind of upfield as we panic, but he just stays in the body. Great play on the disc, even better recovery by the offense. But this is a really good example of the power of, okay, what am I doing with my head? What am I doing with my feet? Am I shuffling? Am I staying close to my person? I think this is just really good defense. Right here. Great reset defense.